Welcome to Moments of Motherhood. I'm Bailey.
And I'm Torie. Join us in creating community through shared experiences and candid conversations.
We hope to bring you laughter, comfort, and solidarity in this journey of motherhood.
This is our virtual village. Welcome back to Moments of Motherhood. I'm Torie. I'm one of your co-hosts for this podcast. And today, my other co-host, Bailey, is on a much-needed vacation with her family. So today, we are having our first ever guest on our podcast. And it's someone that I admire and love deeply and care for deeply and is one of the best people I know. She is the founder of Rhodes Coffee Co, a solo mama, a full-time student turned grad, a visionary, a veteran, and just an all-around badass person. And that is my sister, Tricia. Welcome.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm stoked to be here today and talk about motherhood, our own journeys through motherhood, Rhodes, and last year, this year, kind of what's been happening with life.
Yeah. So today on this episode, we are focusing on Tricia's journey into motherhood, what her life has looked like the past couple of years, last year, in 2024, what she's up to currently, and what some of her future plans are. I'm excited to get into it all. She has an amazing story, and I think a lot of listeners will really be inspired by everything that she's done and gone through. I know I am constantly in awe and inspired of everything she does and works towards. And yeah, I think let's just get into it. So let's start with motherhood. Yeah, let's start with your journey into becoming a mother. And I guess you can go as deep as you want, or you can keep it, you just share however much feels good for you. But I guess, what was your journey into motherhood like initially?
My journey into motherhood was very unexpected, and without oversharing, but also the space here to be a bit vulnerable. For the most of my adult life, I was under the assumption that I had a medical condition and I would never be able to have my own children. So when I got pregnant during COVID, I was living in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island, and Rhodes Coffee Co. And I was a full-time student. I was attending Johnson & Wales University as a culinary arts student. So I got pregnant, and it was 2020, and the world was still shut down, and it was just a huge surprise, a huge shock for both myself and my partner at the time. Ultimately, very early on into my pregnancy, it became clear that this was going to be a solo journey for me into motherhood, which was absolutely terrifying. Not only the uncertainty of having a child, the uncertainty of COVID, living in Rhode Island, what I'm going to do with my life. So it was just a very heavy time of going through pregnancy during COVID. And there's a lot of moms, I'm sure, that can relate to that, having small children or having babies or being pregnant in COVID and not having that sense of community ultimately, which, as you know, is so important. So that lack of support down in Rhode Island is ultimately what led me back home to Pulaski. And just, I think when it was a few months before my daughter River was born, I moved back home, and what was supposed to be temporary, at the time I told myself, I'll have the baby and then I'll move back down to Rhode Island. And by the time she was just a few months old, I quickly realized, I was like, okay, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, which was hard for me to come to terms with, honestly.
Yeah, you had to pivot. I think being a first-time mom is like the biggest. It's so amazing, but it's like such a shock to the system.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in your like specific situation, like that probably really threw you for a loop a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, throughout my 20s, I just had this like incredible sense and this of freedom, both I lived, for lack of a better word, like this nomadic life through much of my 20s, whether that was living and traveling in my van, doing the long distance cycling, really just kind of like getting up and going whenever I wanted. And I was still able to do that prior to my pregnancy down in Rhode Island. New England is just such an amazing place with everything geographically close by, the mountains, the beach, the city. It was a place that I like truly loved, and a place that I really wanted to call home. So coming back to Pulaski was very difficult, because I knew coming back home that lifestyle, that those things were no longer going to be the center of my life. And I had to, kind of come to terms with, this is it, Pulaski will be home.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah.
Home
again. Yeah. Which is fine. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. I mean, I can't imagine, obviously. My pregnancy
you saw me
was
through it all.
Yeah. Well, and my pregnancy was also, my first pregnancy was a bit unexpected too. So like those feelings are really intense. And then being by yourself, like completely solo, going back home is really, I mean, it was probably the best option, right? So everything works out.
Ultimately, everything has worked out the way it's supposed to. And I do think, and this is a point that is important to make, not just for me, but like in context of my business, is the fact that I am a solo mom. You and I have talked about this a lot, is I'm not a single mom. I don't have, I'm not co-parenting. River's dad is not in her life. And with that comes, 24 responsibility on myself. And for most of her life, the financial responsibility as well. And also it means that she has one set of grandparents, right? Our parents. Is, her father and his family, they're in Massachusetts. They're 5 hours, 6 hours away. So yeah, it's just me and her and our side of the family in this journey of motherhood, which I'm like obviously very blessed and grateful that you guys are such a big part of our life.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, we all know that. So besides the, like, I don't know if I want to say shock, but the shock of having to be a solo mom, what surprised you the most? Like, let's say 6 months postpartum or a year. River's a year old. Like, what has surprised you the most? Or even now, like, what has surprised you the most about becoming a mother?
I think it's the love that I have for her is just so deep. She is such a patient, like from birth, like she has been the most patient little girl, like, and the love that I feel for her is just indescribable, really. It's a love I never knew I needed, never knew I could feel. And yeah, she is literally just the joy and the light of my life. And
isn't that crazy? It's just like such an intense feeling.
It is. It's like, it's hard to imagine, it's hard to imagine my life without her,
Yeah. Like who were we before kids? Like I think about that and I'm like, that's so weird, because I literally can't even imagine one day without them in my life. Like that would be so crazy. And so, yeah, the intensity of the love that you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You were surprised by that.
I was surprised, and because throughout my pregnancy, I was just in this deep, deep depression, and it took a long time to come out of the circumstances that surrounded my pregnancy and going through pregnancy alone, and then, postpartum alone. And it took me a really long time. And I'm not ashamed to admit that the bond, it's not that it didn't come quick, but I breastfed for 3 years. And that was hands down what really solidified that bond between her and I. Otherwise, I don't think I would have been able to bond with her as strongly, because I was in such a deep depression myself.
Yeah, it's like you had no choice. Yeah, during breastfeeding, but to literally connect.
Yeah, and I loved it. I really, you helped me really lean into that breastfeeding journey. And that's one of my proudest things as a mom, is breastfeeding for 3 years.
Yeah, it's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah,
and I love
amazing.
that for you guys. I love breastfeeding. I love all things breastfeeding. You know that. I'm the biggest advocate, even if it's just for a couple days. I don't know, that feeling. I'm still nursing Otto, and he loves it just as much as I do. Maybe more at this point. So yeah, it's intense and amazing. So, okay. Let's shift a little bit.
Sure.
More into River and Rhodes. River and Rhodes. Tell us just about, I guess, maybe your thought process. You were a solo mom with, how old was she when you started?
So when
planning?
when I first started planning, it was 2022.
So she's a year. A year and
6
change.
months, roughly. It was that winter of 2022 is when I started trying to figure out what path to pursue as a solo mom. And I was looking at all sorts of different things, like how to work remotely, how to do things on my own time, how to be a business owner, right? I had ended up launching my Airbnb that year. So, yeah, it was 2022.
Okay, so you had your Airbnb and you had a 6-month-old. What was the main driving force for you to be okay, I think this is the avenue, the mobile coffee trailer. This is my direction.
So you know me, I'm an extremist and I can be very impulsive.
No, really.
But even though I have thought about doing this for years, owning a cafe, right? Or owning a coffee shop. I like the term coffee shop. I think that just comes from grandpa and dad going to the coffee shop.
It's the coffee shop. It's always the coffee shop.
Yeah. I don't love cafe. It's coffee shop. It's always been this pipe dream, if you will. But in, was it 2023? I was visiting you. You had just had Otto. And I just came back from Oregon with this intense feeling of I've got to make a move to do something, because I know what I want. I have this vision for this life I want her and I to lead. And I know, and it's it's not that it's on a timeline per se, but by the time she's certain ages, I want us to be able to reap the benefits and have something established so that we can live the life I hope to create for her. So yeah, 2023 is when that was our first year in business, was 2023. I don't know
Wow.
if that answered your question at all.
Yeah, I think, like you said, you were just thinking about the future, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the now is what obviously leads to the future, like duh, but what you're doing now directly impacts how your future is going to look. And you were just saying like you have a very specific idea about how you want your future to look with River. And so I think just like tying this back together, the coffee shop idea is sort of how you feel like you can get there. Is that
Yeah,
still how you feel like you can get there? I guess like
that's fair.
how were the first couple of years of doing the trailer? Do you want to
The
get into
trailer?
talking about?
Yeah, let's jump into the trailer because and just kind of how that came to be in general is
Yeah.
I saw a need in our local community for a proper cafe, a proper espresso bar, coffee shop, if you will. But with having a 6-month-old, or by the time she was a year and a half, almost 2, I'm like, if this doesn't work, what can I do? Like I always like in business, right? You have to have an exit strategy. So I built the trailer specifically with an exit strategy in mind. Like, okay, if this doesn't work, I just sell the trailer, like, and we just move on. So the trailer has always been a way to like test the market locally, see if it's feasible, see if it's sustainable for myself.
Yeah.
And then ultimately a means to an end, which, is something we can discuss a little bit further in this conversation. But so that's kind of where that started. And my vision when I started this trailer was, just as you said, to create this life and this schedule for her. And it is not at all what I had envisioned in terms of, time or money or really anything. I thought that I could just make this work and work with us. But the reality is that this endeavor has been all consuming, right? Like pursuing this endeavor, literally taking, now I got the coughs.
Yeah.
Taking this concept of a coffee shop and putting it on wheels just made the entire concept 10 times more difficult, right? From transportation, logistics, operations, all of it.
I was going to say logistically, probably the hardest.
Logistically, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the first year was rough, man. Like pulling the trailer, lugging that trailer over there with my
every day, right?
Well, yeah, the 4 days that I was open.
Yeah, every day you're open, yeah.
In my 2002 Ford 150.
Yeah.
This rust bucket of a truck that I love. But was also, slightly unreliable.
Yeah.
And yeah, pulling it up, jacking the trailer up, setting up, running on generators, which were incredibly expensive to run, noisy, smelly, I just don't think like I really comprehended what I was getting into, to be completely honest. But
well, and I love that you're sharing this also, because I think for all of your customers and the consumers of Rhodes, like everybody knows it's hard work, right, to run your own business, but
sure,
you don't ever get like a full breakdown from small businesses about, no, this is actually what is happening. Like I'm working 14-hour days and it's all consuming. And even on the days that I'm not running the trailer, I'm working 14-hour days, and I have a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old. Like I am also a solo mom. Like there's so much that goes into every like little part of running a business and being a mom. Like being a mom is obviously a full-time job in and of itself.
Right.
And I think it's just really good for your customers and like our listeners to sort of see the other side of things, to hear the other side of things, because you're so, I mean, at the trailer, like that's the best part, right? Like when you're at the trailer and you're connecting with your customers and you're serving the thing that you love, that's like the best part of it all. And that's what everybody sees from you is like, you know, you're happy and amazing and giving them the best coffee of their life. But then they don't see everything else that's happening, and to really paint a picture for people for like why you're doing what you're doing and why pivoting is necessary and what else is going on in your life, like being a solo mom. You also
I think that like
have
what
a
you
huge
said,
project going on top of a business, another project, like
a couple other projects, right? Yeah, I think what you said though is important about, you know, when I'm at the trailer, and my job at the trailer is just such a small fraction of the overall picture, right? Like when I'm at the trailer, like I equate that to like, for lack of a better analogy, is like a basketball game, right? But you know, the practice and the time spent developing yourself and your skills and your leadership is all behind the scenes. And so when I'm at the trailer, that's the best part. That's the easiest. That is literally the easiest part. Serving the coffee, like that's the easiest part to do. Yeah. Anybody can do that, you know. Luckily, I had a really great staff last year. Like those girls, man, those girls
threw down.
They did. We had a really great vibe in the trailer, and you know, I was able to develop myself as a leader in that aspect. But yeah, to your point though, like what people see and what actually has happened is, you know, wildly different, I think, than maybe a lot of people realize. Yeah.
So do you want to touch on how like 2024 for the trailer, like how that went overall for you emotionally and physically and mentally, and then maybe get into future things because of how 2024 went? We can sort of.
Yeah, I think it's just really important to put it all into context. And 2024 was, from a business standpoint, absolutely incredible, right? Like early on in 2024, I made the decision to invest in the infrastructure on the corner of Route 11 and Route 13. And that included installing the electrical, cleaning up the lot, and like really creating a space for people to come and sit and enjoy, and create this open air cafe coffee shop. And the response from the community was, I'm very humbled still to this day by the stoke, the excitement, how my customers, how our community felt that was truly a place where they could just come and sit and let their kids be kids, and just have like a moment outside, specifically outside, you know. Excuse me. So that was incredible. Like the response from the community was incredible and very grateful. And the flip side of that coin was the emotional and the mental and the physical toll that it took on me. You know, I remember telling you last winter, I'm like, this is going to be the hardest year of my life. And coming off of, you know, 2-3 years of deep depression and postpartum depression, and really coming to terms with being a solo mom, like that says a lot that I had already envisioned what it was going to look like. So in early 2024, I also started working with my architect to build my house. And building my house is something that I started back in 2021. When I first moved home, I scooped up a piece of property, and the property is very close to where our whole family lives. So that was intentional.
Yeah.
Because community is important. That's it.
Having a support system. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the midst of, starting working with the architect last year, building the infrastructure for the business, I was also a full-time student. I was pursuing I pivoted my degree plan from Johnson & Wales from culinary arts to hospitality management. And that's something that I had been working on since 2019. And it was very important for me to finish that, mostly for myself. I really wanted to complete that.
Yeah.
And so on top of, being the solo mom, building my house, being a full-time student, and, there was, just to be totally on, I was involved in a court case with River's father throughout all last year. That was emotionally, mentally draining. And all of these things, it took a big toll on me.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, because even though I had 5 employees, my employees, they only worked my service hours. Right. So when I say I worked 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, like that, I'm not kidding. It was every day. On Mondays, I would prep. Tuesdays, if I had some more free time, that would be my day off, Tuesday. Wednesday was production mode. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were go.
Yeah.
And then right back at it Monday. So it's a lot. And, salmon season rolled around, 3 a.m.s rolled around. And that was tough. So yeah, I don't know where else can I go from this?
No, I think that's good. I was just generally asking for an overview of how you felt for your 2024 season. And I think
super proud. I'm not ashamed to say that I was super proud of what I accomplished, how the community responded, because ultimately my goal from day one with Rhodes has been to build a brand. Rhodes is a brand. We're not just a coffee shop. We're not just a cafe. And this is future trajectory business, but ultimately I'm trying to build a brand. And what I'm really trying to do is build a hospitality company. I'm trying to build a culture and an atmosphere for not just my community, but, perhaps a greater area to serve. And through all the stress and everything that was going on, I also bought the commercial lot last year in the midst of on my birthday. I closed on it on my birthday.
Yeah, wild.
I bought it on my birthday. But what last year did for me, mentally, is it made me laser focused, regardless of all the stress and all of the other moving parts in my life. Is I became laser focused and just really the vision I could see coming to life before my eyes, and I had a lot of momentum, and to close in November was very difficult because we were just we were fucking moving,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So with all that being said, what does the future of Rhodes look like currently?
Yeah. So
that's I think the big question
that's the big question.
And everybody that's a Rhodes customer that's listening to this podcast is really here for.
Right. You can fast forward through all of this to get to this point. You can fast forward the
we'll
first
put
30 minutes.
timestamps up.
First 30 minutes if you want to just jump right into it.
No, I just feel like all the backstory is really worth the listen though. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And I don't mean to diminish it. But the context for sure. So my house has been being built since last October, and that
a whole ass house,
from the ground up. And every single decision is on me. I have a great general contractor, but I also am project manager because it's my home and I get the last say and everything that gets done to the place. So with that, I've had to really put the business on a complete back burner. I just have not had the mental capacity to even allow myself to go there with the business, because where the trailer was located on the corner of Route 13 and Route 11, the owners of the property have been incredibly kind and gracious to let me utilize the space for 2 years. Mm-hmm. But with that, there was always an understanding of, hey, there is going to come a time, probably sooner than later, where this is not going to be an option. And I've known that since day one. And so up until a recent discussion, I was actually under the assumption that I couldn't go back to the corner this year. Mm. Yeah, I was okay, I totally wrote it off. I was I'm not going back to the corner. And if I can't go back to the corner, the trailer's out. I'm done.
Right.
I can't navigate the operations or logistics with the trailer again.
Oh yeah, having to bring it different places and
or just invest in the infrastructure to set it up somewhere. And ultimately the toll that the business took on River and I last year was immense. To go back to salmon season or even those early mornings, I'd have to pluck her out of bed at 3 a.m. And, she would cry and be like, Mom, I don't want you to go to work. Mom, I don't want you. So even at 3, there was she developed this bit of for a lack of a better word, resentment for Rhodes and going to work. And when I got done working, it was she just wanted mama. And
yeah, of course.
So everything, and this is where my business is where I have a bit of an unconventional approach to business. Whether it's right or wrong, when I mean right or wrong, when other business people see what I do in my business, it's at the end of the day, my top priority will always be River and how can I make this work for her and I.
Yeah.
So up until very recently, I didn't know that I could go back to the corner. So I have made the decision to go back to the corner where we were at last year on Route 11 and Route 13. So that's good news for everybody is,
literally, y'all, this is the first time I'm also hearing this news. Okay.
So true. I haven't even told you what I'm doing. We haven't even.
I'm waiting for it.
I've been sleeping on it, praying on it, trying to really figure out what the fuck am I gonna do?
How can you make it?
Yeah.
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 We're the
how
same
and
person.
what is because it's not about me, it's about River. And I cannot, moving into our new house is going to be a giant transition for us, an
amazing one, but huge transition.
Yeah, very blessed, super stoked to get in over there. Cannot wait. But I also can't open my business until I move into my house. And so, I am going to go back to the corner. I'm not sure what that's going to look like, though, to be completely honest. I know. Can I just briefly mention this conversation that Dad and I had recently? Where he's
please. I think everybody wants to hear.
Oh my God. Dad was adamant. He's like, "You got to get back to the corner. You got to get back there." And I'm like, "No." I'm like, I was so burnt out last year.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot do that to myself. Like, I cannot do that to River. Like, I cannot go back to the corner.
Yeah.
Because for those that don't know, like, at the corner, there's no, I pump in my water every day. I drain the gray water every day.
There's no bathroom.
There's no bathroom. There's no space to hold inventory. I was going to Aldi and then Tops every single day after we closed, or sometimes I was able to sneak away during service hours if we weren't busy. And all of these things just take so much time.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I can't go back there.
I
But I can't do it. But I just had, I had the conversation with Jeffrey and a couple other people, Dad included. And, I was very adamant. I'm like, not you. Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the plan. Is I am going to go back to the corner. I'm not sure what my work week is going to look like, to be completely honest. I don't know if I can do 4 days a week again.
Okay, but there will be a coffee shop trailer on the corner.
There will be, and I'm going to set
in 2025.
In 2025, yeah, probably going to get it set up and situated within the next month, during the month of May. Is the goal.
I'll be looking out.
Yeah, look out for that big black trailer.
Yeah. Okay. This is really exciting. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously had an idea, but like.
Yeah. Well, because as you know, I've also built a coffee cart. That's what I spent the winter doing, was building this coffee cart and trying to develop a catering business is what I've been really focused on this winter, is catering. Which I haven't yet to launch, by the way.
Right. Well, I knew that. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to put a whole pause on the whole business aspect of my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, trailer's happening.
So is it going to be the same menu? Is it going to be the same hours? The same? You're not sure on the days yet?
Right. Same menu. It's going to offer everything that we were last year. Everything will be the same.
Just kidding.
No, I think I was 6 a.m. until salmon season. Yeah.
I mean, that's nice. A lot of coffee shops in Portland don't even open till 7. They're just like, too bad.
What? What do people do that early in Portland?
Well, like, I've been going to 5 a.m. workout classes, and there's a really good coffee shop, like, literally almost right next door to it, but they don't open till 7.
Which one?
It's called Good People.
Oh.
It just opened. It's like pretty, I don't know if they have more than one location, but they're right on the main strip in Troutdale, where like Sugar Pine is.
Yeah, Troutdale.
That's where I go to work out.
Yeah. I love Troutdale. That's like.
Yeah, I love Troutdale too. That's my like little place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go check it out then.
But yeah, no, well, they don't open till 7, so I don't like them anymore. Because I gotta get home by 6:30. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, you have Dutch Bros out there, so are they open?
That's true. Yeah, they're open like 24 hours.
Oh, nice.
Or 18 hours or something.
If anybody on the East Coast ever gets a chance to go to Dutch Bros, y'all, go to Dutch Bros.
I just don't know why Dutch Bros isn't on the East Coast.
I don't either. They should be.
They're so big out here.
Yeah.
People out here, though, I feel like almost have the same vibe as people have about Dunkin' Donuts on the East Coast. It's either like you love them or you hate them. I happen to love them.
I love them. You know what I love the most about them? It's going to sound ridiculous, but from like
how happy they are.
Well, yeah, that too. They're like, "Hey, what's up?" They literally have one person at the drive-thru to talk to you. That's their only job.
That's their only job.
Is to talk to you.
Hand you the coffee and ask you about your day and like hype you up.
Customer service, dude.
And smile at you. And they like are blasting the music in the background. They're like all dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I miss Dutch Bro. The other thing though I love about them are their lids. Lids. Like the mouthpiece on their lids has like
it's like a nipple.
It is a little nipple, but
it's like a nipple.
It's awesome because your drink doesn't spill.
That's true.
You know,
it doesn't like slosh out.
Yeah. You know, with like those pull tab back.
Those are old school. Who has the pull tab back?
Oh, the people I don't have those. Rhodes doesn't have those, but
who has those?
I thought anymore? the other one that we will not say their name, I thought they had those.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Dutch Bros is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, coffee shops in general are like 7 a.m., but you're going to be potentially 6 a.m., potentially 3 or 4 days a week. How have you thought about like how you can make this year a little less, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Intense for you and River, or like how you can maybe like delegate more, or what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Are you just going to like figure it out?
No. I've got a bit of a game plan. You know, I'm always scheming in the back of my head.
Oh, I know.
I'm always, and even though like I wasn't sure what I was going to do this year, my mind is always 5 years out, 3 to 5 years out. Like, where is this actually going?
Yeah.
I always try to work backwards. Anyways, yeah. So definitely need to delegate more. And there's certain things that business that I have to do for that business to run. One of them, pop up my awning every morning. That thing weighs like 100 pounds. You know, it's on poles that are in paint cans. So I take on that responsibility to make sure that that's stable. The other thing is, you know, I've got to pump in water and pump out gray water. Those hours in between, it is wild. Those hours in between, though, I need to delegate more and really put that trust in my employees, which I do trust them. You know, last year was like a growing year, and I'm hopeful that some of them will come back and I can entrust them with more responsibility. But ultimately, where I need the most help is outside of service hours.
Right.
You know, so that'll be the key for this year for me.
So this is the official Rhodes ad.
What if you're looking for a job?
If you're looking for a job that is behind the scenes and maybe flexible hours, like just shoot her a text.
Yeah, email me. And if you've emailed me before, don't take it personal, because I have
just
not
email her
looked,
again.
Have not even looked at that inbox. Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I know. Avoidance is my thing though, you know.
So
out of sight.
Do you want to give your Rhodes crew a estimated opening date, or like
it's
what
tricky.
are you thinking? So
ideally I would, like, in a perfect world, I would love to be open by Memorial Day.
Okay.
Yeah. Which Memorial Day like comes early this year.
When is that? Is that?
It's like the 25th.
I was going to say the end of May, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, like the 26th. But if that doesn't work out, if the 26th doesn't work out, the absolute latest I would open is like June 19th, you know,
or 18th.
No, I can't open on the 18th. It's somebody's birthday.
Well, yeah, that's why we don't work on it.
We don't work birthdays.
We don't work birthdays. That's true. I remember
that's very important.
I remember Dad giving me a hard time last year about you taking your birthday off.
Yeah.
Oh,
I will never, just like a PSA, I will never work River's birthday. That'll be like a Rhodes holiday.
So PSA, holiday. June 30th.
And
August 25th.
I think I did work. No, I worked my birthday last year because Abby brought me a sweet little bouquet of sunflowers.
Oh, maybe it was River's birthday that
it was River's birthday.
About.
Yeah.
She's not going to remember. And I'm like,
yeah.
I was trying to like tell Dad, like, listen, it's different for moms. Okay.
Yeah. I don't care if she remembers. I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of your customers like really took hard offense to you taking your daughter's birthday off. Like, I think everybody was okay.
Yeah. life goes on, right? Like
life goes on.
Nobody remembers except me. So what's
Okay, well, that's
interesting
exciting.
what's interesting though is last year, because I had so many operational issues, and because, just Dad went through his heart issues, his health issues last year in May.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to open like May 16th. I didn't actually become fully operational because my freezers broke for 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So my espresso machine went down, my freezers broke. Dad had his health problems. I didn't actually completely open until like June 18th, 19th last year.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now that we've covered 2025 plans.
Yeah, for the most part.
And for the most part,
glazed.
everybody knows that you're going to have the trailer open again, which I think was like kind of like a big question mark for a lot of people.
It was,
including
for
yourself.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's happening. What else is happening in the semi-near future, which I'm talking like the next year, 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you bought the lot on, what's that road?
Route 13.
Road 13.
Rome Road, if you will.
Okay.
People still call it that. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I bought that lot on Route 13. And oh my gosh, was I like overly ambitious and a bit naive? I was like, yeah, we're going to clear this thing and we're going. So I have been working on it with the architect still slowly. It's a very slow process when you're like on a state road, and this is like raw land with a 3-phase power pole on it and easements and all of these like other unknown things. So my vision for that property has definitely pivoted. It's definitely shifted in terms of both site design, site plan, and timeline. I've just had to like become very realistic. Like the amount of money that it would take to build the building of my dreams, if you will, is just, it's not something I feel comfortable taking on. It's just this business is a very singular endeavor, financially, operationally, logistically. I don't have a business partner and I don't have a life partner to support me to make these leaps that I otherwise could. I feel like if I was supported with a partner, whether that be business or life, that I could move this business along much faster.
Right.
But that's not the reality, and I'm okay with that. So in 3 to 5 years, I still hope to build a drive-through location there. That is my plan. And that's ironically enough, like my vision for that is very much Sugar Pine meets Dutch Bros. That's the vibe.
Everybody just look up Sugar Pine on Instagram if you're curious of the vibe, because that's like my place. I actually just talked to the owner not that long ago.
Nice.
And told her about like how you were inspired by the design.
Oh my God, I'm like, so inspired. Wow. Yeah, I love that
That's
place.
So cool. Okay, so 3 to 5 years, you still are hoping or are planning, to still do a drive-through.
Yeah, so I really feel like that location will be designated as a drive-through. Like pure convenience. People headed southbound out of town. It's on the right-hand side of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of the other thing I've been working on this past winter since we closed is my ultimate goal is to, like I said, Rose is not just a coffee shop. I really want to position this as a hospitality business. And so I want to, and what I'm like really pursuing and seeking out is the ability to roast coffee in-house.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to have a roastery. I want to be able to control. Well, first of all, we have incredible coffee from Coastal Roasters down in Tiverton, Rhode Island. Lisa has been absolutely incredible. But I think in terms of like volume and sustainability, roasting in-house is really the only the only way to grow that aspect. So roasting is definitely on the radar. And then by the end of our trailer season this year, the goal is to basically move right into a brick and mortar location, which is very exciting, and also very recent development of making that leap and making that commitment.
Are you going to disclose where this location might be, or is that later
I
on?
feel like that maybe we can have like a revisit of that conversation. One, just I want to respect the privacy and of the location. Things are still very much up in the air. Mm-hmm. And I can't give a timeline for that either, because that timeline is not dependent on me. It's dependent upon the landlord, the owner of the building. But yeah, that's the goal, right? That the trailer was always the means to the end, and the end being a brick and mortar coffee shop. So both of those things are on the radar.
That's exciting. Year-round Rhodes Coffee.
Yeah, year-round.
Year-round, not just seasonal.
Yep.
You can get hot beverages in the winter too.
Get hot bevies in the dead of January.
Oh my gosh, when there's nothing else to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the goal, right? Is like there is nothing to do around here January and February. That's no secret, but come hang out at Rhodes, have a cup of coffee, chat with your neighbors. Yeah.
Okay. This is all really exciting. Do you feel complete in what you wanted to share with your customers? Is there any other things, I guess, like for this year that you feel like compelled or that's missing?
I just think it's important for people to understand the context of why my business will have the trajectory it does. And it is 100% based upon my daughter, it's based on River. And I think people view Rhodes as successful, right? And for me, success is measured in time, not money. And until I can get my business to the point where it's sustainable and operational without my day-to-day presence, I will not feel successful. The true cost of anything is time. And right now, what I'm sacrificing is time away from her. And that's what I've sacrificed for the past 2 years, and which has been very difficult to do. It's like absolutely heart-wrenching to leave your child at 3 a.m. when she's crying, or when she misses you and you're the only parent, so I need to even though I have ambitious plans for this year, I also recognize I need to take it back a step. And, it's almost like a bow and arrow, right? Sometimes you need to go back in order to propel yourself forward. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my goal this year is if I'm not open 4 days a week, that's fine. If I'm open 3 days, great. I have yet to make a penny from this business. Any money I've ever made has been reinvested right back into the business. And I pour everything I have into this: time, love, money, and I am just really grateful for the community's grace and support throughout this whole endeavor, because we wouldn't even be having this conversation if people weren't so stoked about
they didn't care
to begin with. Yeah. So for me, and this is kind of our slogan is Rhodes will always be more than coffee. The only person I am in competition with is myself. I don't feel the need to compete with anybody locally or compare myself to anybody. There's nobody that I'm trying to copy or do the same things that they're doing necessarily. I'm trying to build something a little bit more than coffee.
Yeah, totally.
So That's, I think, what it comes down to for me. And I'll never compromise my own beliefs and my own integrity in that process. You know me.
And I think that's why
I'm very
people are really
grounded.
supportive.
Yeah.
Because they know, like, you are a hardworking, trustworthy woman that just wants something more for her community. And like you said, it is a lot more than coffee. I mean, just look at your Instagram when you get going. Like, all of these people post like that they've gone to get their roads, and they either
Love to see it.
are
Yes.
sitting around outside the trailer enjoying the sunshine, or they went with friends, or they met a friend there. And I think, yeah, that's just really the essence of Rhodes is community. And I love that, because Bailey and I started this podcast because we felt the need to create more community for ourselves. And that's just such a big part of motherhood. It's such a big part of, I think, entrepreneurship and just doing life. Like, everybody needs community. Everybody needs support. Everybody, like, we're designed to be amongst other people, and
we are,
lean on other people.
Which is like a weird, uncomfortable space for me, because I'm like a self-proclaimed loner. Like, I'm a huge introvert. Like, and I prefer that in many aspects of my life. But I also recognize, like, I can't do it alone.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows, anybody that knows me, like, locally, they know, like, you ask me to do something, I'm probably going to say no, you know? And that's because of the growth of this business, you know? But yeah, maybe you cut that part out.
No, I think this is all good. I think everybody is going to be so stoked. I'm so stoked for you. I am so proud. I am so excited to see how everything unfolds in the future. And I mean, it's just already been such a big success. I know, like,
perceived success. I think that
I think it's been such a big success overall. I think, like, giving yourself more credit is necessary. You sharing a lot of, like, the back end stuff, the history of Rhodes and how you got there, is super important for everybody to hear, just because, like you said, you might be open 3 days a week, you might be open 4 days a week. And I think everybody understands why now. I mean, if they didn't before, I'm sure a lot of people did before, but if they didn't, now it's very clear, you know, River is your number one priority. Being a mom is your number one priority. Everything else is to benefit and support the life that you guys want. And I think you're doing a really great job. And I'm excited for everything that's going to unfold. And I want to end this podcast on maybe, like, a lighter, more fun note.
Yeah.
Maybe for people that don't know you so personally. I think a lot of people know you pretty personally, but, like, some people don't really know, like, know you. So it's just like a little fun lightning round of questions. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay. What is your go-to coffee order when you're wiped, but you still have to show up?
Oh gosh. I'm just like a classic drip coffee drinker.
Yeah.
You know, I just love drip coffee. Drip coffee, heavy cream. Thanks, Joe Kettner.
Oh my gosh, he loves heavy cream. Like,
that's all I drink in my coffee.
He can't function without it. What's something that River does right now that just makes you smile or lights you up, or is just like something that she's been doing lately that's just so her and funny?
So many things, but right now I really try to give her the autonomy to dress herself and do her hair. Probably like 5 days a week. I let her do her own hair, which is just wild. So if you ever see us in public and she looks like crazy, but right now she's obsessed with trying to curl her hair. So what she does is she it's so cute. She has river time in the bathroom. Let her go play in the sink. Such a girly girl. But
which is so funny.
So funny because I'm not. So I let her be. She tries to curl her hair with the water in her finger. And then she ends up looking like a little Hasidic Jew because her sides are just like curled. She's so proud.
Bet.
She's so proud.
Oh my gosh.
You see my curls? Mama, you see my curls?
That's adorable.
Oh my gosh, Riv. Amazing.
Oh, that's so fun. Okay. She's so funny. I just think she's so funny.
She's a trip. Yeah. She's much funnier than me.
Yeah, she is.
She is. She might be
She's funny like her aunt.
I was going to say, she might be the second funniest person in the family.
Tiffany thinks she's the first. I'm definitely the funniest.
You're definitely the funniest. Definitely.
Okay, what's the best piece of mom advice that you've actually used?
Oh, shoot.
Sleep when baby sleeps. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh, yeah, if you're going... That's applicable for you, right?
I'm sort of fucking with you.
Oh man, no, River was always a great sleeper. I think somebody told me, this was just like an offhand comment. I was hurrying River along when we were out somewhere, and somebody was like, she's on her own time. And that comment has really stuck with me. It was just such an offhand comment somebody said. I'm like, come on, Riv, let's go, fast feet. And they're like, she's on her own time. And I really have to pause and remember okay, she's 3 and she is on her own time. And just because I'm in a hurry doesn't give me the right to hurry her.
Totally.
I have to manage my time better.
Yeah, I love that. I have also heard that too. And that's so true.
It's hard to hear.
What are we actually in a hurry for?
Yeah.
For what? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. What is a guilty pleasure that you have? Whether it's some sort of food or snack or show or mindlessly scrolling. What's when you need to just leave your mind?
Shoot, that's a good question. Guilty pleasure.
We all know mine's reality TV, so.
Yeah, yours is trash TV. I would say, I don't know if this is a guilty pleasure, but just getting out and exercising, getting childcare for an hour and a half.
Oh, she's gonna put a healthy spin on this, okay? She's not gonna tell us her true guilty pleasure. She's gonna tell us her healthy guilty pleasure.
I'm fucking boring, dude. I don't do I scroll as much or more than the average person? Yeah, probably. But is that a guilty pleasure? No, that's just mindless.
I think that's sort of a guilty pleasure.
I feel it's a time suck. I would say
it's a time suck.
I would say going to the gym feels like a guilty pleasure because I feel guilty that I'm having childcare to get out of the house to go spend 2 hours. But it's also
pleasurable. Yeah.
Yeah. I just love sitting in the sauna. I think maybe that's it.
Oh, there we go.
I freaking love the sauna.
Same.
Yeah, that would be a dream. What else you got? Let me ask you a question. What's your coffee order these days? Are you switched to matcha? No. You haven't had good matcha.
Okay. Yeah. So
I miss those boys.
My coffee drink. What's my coffee drink?
What?
What do I order when I get coffee, guys?
Your foodie sons don't know.
What? No. Chase just said it. What?
Milk latte.
Milk latte? That's right.
Everybody should know that Torie has the most foodie boys there. They're little foodies for sure.
Yeah. Well, I love to cook. What can I say?
I know. I love it. Yeah.
I love to cook good food too. Okay. Last question. One thing you're working on personally, but also as a business owner, like merging the two together? Like what is...
Oh, this is an easy question because
there we go.
Yeah, this it's very difficult to do, and I'm often met with resistance. But setting boundaries, not just setting boundaries, but like maintaining boundaries,
holding them.
Like it's okay to set them, but to feel that my boundaries are respected is difficult to, for whatever reason. That's like difficult. Like I'll set a boundary and it doesn't matter. It feels like it doesn't matter to the other person that the boundary has been set. There just keeps being the line that just keeps being crossed. And that's like both professionally and for professionally and personally, you know. And like, oh my gosh, building a house, like, yeah, we've learned a lot about, you know, setting boundaries and maintaining them. And hi, you can jump in.
No, we can't. Their faces are, I don't want their faces.
Oh, sorry. That's right.
I love that one. Because that's literally so true in every aspect. Just stay right there. Well, thanks for sharing everything that you've shared.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for taking the time to do this and being...
I'm excited to put this out and hear the feedback that you're getting from people. Like this, it'll be really exciting. I'm excited to come visit and have Rhodes. I didn't even know, like, I mean, I knew I was going to have a version of Rhodes, obviously.
Well, yeah.
I get that.
Although I will say my at-home espresso machine, like, I don't know, blew up the other day. So I know.
That's okay. I can walk to Rhodes.
It's okay. I have like 3 other ones.
Anyways,
yeah.
My children are going crazy downstairs. So
no, I can't wait to see you. And I can't wait to see everybody at Rhodes either.
I know.
Truly.
It's going to be so amazing. Everybody's going to be so stoked. I can't wait to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I literally just made this decision in the past 48 hours. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that makes me feel better about not knowing about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, sorry I didn't tell you. I really, you know, I've told you, I'm like leaning into faith a little bit, you know, quite a bit. And I've just really had to kind of sit on this and contemplate what is best for us in the business. And yeah, going back to the corner, as an option is a no-brainer, I think. Like, yeah, when I kind of take other things off the plate. Yeah. So
all exciting stuff happening. Everybody give Tricia grace and go support her. Obviously, go support her and let us know what you think. Let us know your excitement. Share your excitement that she's opening again with her. And yeah, we'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much for sharing and being vulnerable and talking about motherhood and business and everything in between.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Adios.